Greetings once again, YouTube. It's your boy, Fear None Everlasting. Welcome to my new channel. I actually have another channel called Fear None Everlasting, but I made a special, this is a special channel right here, a new one dedicated solely to a new activity that I'm a part of. That activity is the publishing of a journal, a daily or weekly or whenever I can basically get to it, journal in which I share my personal thoughts on the world that we live in, and how we're transitioning, and what we, the good people of the world, could do to make the world a better place. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a single step. I realize that I may not possibly, well, it's possible that I may have a big impact in the future, but right now, for the immediate foreseeable future, when I look around, the situation seems quite hopeless. But be that as it may, I still continue to maintain the hope that I have, and continually try to fulfill my purpose regardless on a regular basis. So right now I'm gonna orally express my second edition of my journal, and you can look forward to seeing more oral expressions in the near future. If you find value in anything that I post here, you can help me by one, subscribing, and two, you can share the video on whatever platform that you're associated with, and that's the number one way that you can help me. I'm a Caribbean man. I know I don't sound like it, but I'm a Caribbean man located here in the United States Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be precise. I'm up on the north side in Bond Resolution. So, without any further ado, I'm going to try to knock this out quick. Check it out. Dear Diary, Sunday, April 20th, 2025 at 4 a.m. That's actually not the time now. Today is Sunday. I wrote it this morning, and I delivered it on Facebook this morning, but I'm on multiple platforms now. Look for me on Facebook groups at The Diary of a Resolutionary. If you want to check me out there. I'm actually a whole lot more active there. Anyway, Dear Diary, just under 48 hours have passed since my last entry, and so much has happened since then. I couldn't possibly share all of the experiences I had and wisdom gained or revisited in that period. That would be way too much. If you're new to this group and you're reading this or listening to me express this orally, let me bring you up to speed. I am Chief Fear None Everlasting Arawak, President, Founder, and only member of the Universal Intelligence Agency and Institutes, respectively. Did you catch those parts? Chief, President, only member, Agency, Institute. These are all pretty lofty titles. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack here, and if you cannot tell already, I am not a simple person. I could spend a lot more time shedding light on the mindset and methodology behind all of this, but that would make this all about me, and that's not my intention. Therefore, for now, we'll have to leave the justification of these titles and the ambitions behind them to the imagination. To the reader or listener tuned into this correspondent at this moment, by whatever means, reading or listening, Understand that this is, in fact, a public journal where individuals are invited to join me in a world where I reflect upon my private thoughts and experiences that directly impact my vision that I have for the world that we live in, and therefore my actions. This is actually more about you and us than it is about me. So let us keep our focus on the mission and not get ourselves entangled in what I consider at this moment mundane, irrelevant issues that does not serve our immediate purpose. Now that I got that out the way, I would like to clarify my writing style and address the detail of why sometimes I conveniently and randomly switch between expressions from a first person to a third person perspective. No, I'm not crazy, well, maybe just a little bit. Understand that I have single-handedly taken it upon myself to take on the biggest job in the world, you might say, and creative expression is my specialty. My job is to keep you continually engaged. I have a whole entire bag of tricks that I could go into, available to pull out at my discretion whenever necessary. The mentioned are only some of the tools. My job is to put you right there in the center of the subject that I might be trying to shed light upon. Not to convince you, but to make my point by providing the necessary context and evidence to do so. The rest is left up to you, the listener or reader, and how you choose to interpret these communications. Whether you support my claims, ambitions, or actions are really not a concern of mine. My only real concern is whether or not I presented myself properly and if I were truthful and honest in my communication. How you feel about the audacity it must take for me to speak truth and shed light on the misdeeds of the many individuals or groups that have taken place that perhaps you yourself may be part of or benefit from in what I would personally characterize as the ongoing Holocaust that has taken place across our plane of existence for millennia and disturbed this little racket that y'all got going on has no impact on anything that I do unless you can prove to me how my actions are wrong, in which case I would gladly and sincerely defer to your greater wisdom. Until that happens, I'll continue to be running wild and untamed like a baby in a walker. Can't stop, won't stop. No diddy. Sorry, I couldn't help that. Seriously though, no matter who you are and what station you hold in life, if you have a soul, it should be clear to you that the human condition is broken by design, and it needs to be fixed. If you have an ounce of compassion in you at all, you would acknowledge that there should be a movement where the people of this realm who feel the same way consolidate our efforts to address the most serious issues that we face as a species during these times, and then work our way down the list to whatever remains. We could do this, but we just never tried. There are a number of reasons behind that, and there's a great deal of them, in fact. I intend to enumerate and expose the fundamental nature of as many of them as I could. They say that sunlight is the greatest disinfectant and that the roaches do not like the light. Well, I'm about to put that to the test. Yeah, I'm that guy. You looking at him, you listening to him, or you reading about the shit that he got to say on the matter. I'm not asking for permission, and nobody sent me. I'm not affiliated with anyone, and I'm elected myself, and I walk under my own power and under the protection and guidance of the Father and Mother of all of creation themselves. According to my understanding, while remaining in honor, I do this according to my understanding while remaining in honor of the fundamental, universal, and natural laws established by our creators, which are immutable, inescapable, and applies to everyone and everything. This is my protection, and I represent an idea whose time has come. And if you're spiritually connected and you truly understand how this world actually works, you will understand why I'm here. My very existence is but one of the many ways that the universe seeks to and successfully establishes balance as a counter to all the evil that manifests itself in this world. As a fifth dimensional consciousness being, naturally operating on the frequency of love, existing in a world full of people that are still vibrating in a third dimensional vibrational frequency, I have to meet people where they are in terms of who they are or where they are on that spectrum. And I have not been able to get through to them or resonate with them in the past for that reason. This is why when I speak to them, people look at me and deal with me like I'm crazy and like I'm an alien, or I'm one of those adults on the Charlie Brown series where every word that comes out of my mouth sounds like gibberish. Only Generation X and older would understand that reference. Sorry, a lot of y'all are too young. Fortunately, that all that is beginning to change. In this information age, people are now transitioning from third dimensional and fourth dimensional conscious beings almost overnight at an accelerated pace. There's an old African proverb that says that when the class is ready, the teacher will appear. Surprise, here I am. Humanity is having our 100th monkey syndrome moment, and I am but one of the monkeys, figuratively speaking, that is leading the trend that accelerates the evolution of all monkeys worldwide, if you can understand the reference. This change that is taking place in real time, and chosen ones of all races, cultures, and backgrounds are bursting at the seams with knowledge and sharing it. And it is this knowledge, and this knowledge can no longer be contained. This is bad news for the malevolent forces of this world that has used a monopoly on the truth against us. I'm just playing my part. Oh wait, we're in a new age where light is beginning to shine all over the realm again. And we are entering a time where knowledge will not be used against the people, but for us. I'm just playing my part. I intend to play it as close to perfection as possible, so you could look forward to that. I intend to flush out as many roaches and other parasites out of their comfortable dwellings and bring them into the light so that we could squash them under our feet together. Wouldn't that be nice? Think French Revolution. If you are not the enemy, this should please you. If you are, your actions will eventually expose you for who you are. There is no place to hide, and all you motherfuckers who help them are going down with them. You can miss me with that I am Borg and resistance is futile bullshit. The only thing that is futile is your resistance to this foot that the entire world is about to put up your ass when they find out what you did. And I'm going to go run tell it. Wrapping this up before I get carried away, because I don't know if you could tell, but I love doing this shit. I have one final message until next time. If you are a white person watching this message, especially a friend of mine, you might interpret my actions as a stance that I've taken against you and your kind. Some of the things that I say may come off as a betrayal. And my response to that is that there's no truth to that account. It just looks like that. Look again and look closer. I'm the same person that I've always represented myself as. I have nothing against you for who you are. If you are a good person and you've been good to me, no matter who you are, I will never betray you. The things that I say about your kind and the impact that they've had on the world is not a wholesale indictment of the persona of the entire so-called white race. Not from me. I understand your position better than you may think. Listen, the things that I say obviously does not apply to everyone, and in your case, if you know you are a good and moral individual, let it fly, okay? If it does not apply, let it fly. So if you're as good as you claim to be, you would automatically recognize that and agree with what I said, that the world does have a problem, like I said before, and many of us are out here trying to help us heal. And in order to do that, some inconvenient truths must be spoken. I know it hurts and that the truth is bitter, but the hard medicine must be taken. We avoided it for too long. The Band-Aid is going to get ripped off whether you like it or not. Better to get out ahead of it and embrace it willingly before having to be forced to. Just saying. Thank you all for your indulgence, and until next time, yours truly, respectfully, Fear None Everlasting. Thank you very much again for listening. This has been the second edition of The Diary of a Resolutionary. Like I said, if you found any value in the content that I just presented here, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, share the video with your friends on as many platforms as possible. I'm just getting started, and look forward to my work in the near future. Love.